In a lot of ways, I can see right through this. This church needed a privileged white horse rider. They needed a white horse rider who knows he doesn't deserve the white horse. That allows a pillow of grace. There's a pillow of grace from Trump to the church right now because they all know that he doesn't really deserve this white horse. So that gives them a few years to just kind of chill out and be like, well, we'll see what God does, as opposed to me getting my white horse and this church never being able to receive my ministry since day one, not even half of it, because I wasn't allowed to preach against doctrines of demons. So had I preached against doctrines of demons, this church wouldn't have been able to endure. I would have been demolished. But so God told me not to, so I obeyed him there, and I only did around half of my ministry, and this church couldn't even take half of my ministry. Okay? So Trump brings about 1/50th of my ministry, and the church can take that, so there's that pillow of grace for them there. But Trump can't, Trump didn't interpret the Bible. I did. So it's all my interpretations that will be used. So when you really psychoanalyze this thing, it's pathetic. This church couldn't take my ministry, A. They couldn't even take half of my ministry, B. They certainly couldn't take me on the white horse, C. The only person they could take is someone like Trump, who's 1/50th of me, D. And he didn't interpret the Bible. They're all my revelations and interpretations, so God still needed me to do that, irregardless. E. That's a lot of grace for this church. That's a ton of grace for a bunch of people who never even showed up to the classroom and cared. Once you really see this for what it is and you're honest with yourself, you actually humble yourself and you're honest with yourself. You just tell the truth. This is a joke. The way Jesus Christ allowed this to be ordered should not be respected. Jesus Christ should not be respected. His church should not be respected. What he allowed should not be respected, because it's just wrong. This church the focus is on the wrong thing. If the focus is on the wrong thing, then you don't really see what you need to see. The focus has all been on me and my sin. Give me a break. This church couldn't take half my ministry, A. They couldn't take all my ministry, B. They certainly couldn't take me on a white horse right now, C. They could barely take Trump and he's 1/50th, D. And I'm the one who had to interpret the Bible anyway, or else the church doesn't even make it to heaven, E. That's the truth. And that story is about 20 times bigger than my story. Amen. It's real simple. All the dirt came out on me, but none of the dirt came out on the church. My reputation is in the toilet right now because I wasn't able to tell the truth, ever. And when I ended up going, I went down, and in the process of me going down, I wasn't allowed to talk about the whole story. This is monumental. The whole story matters. Why wasn't I allowed to perform my ministry from 1996 on? Why wasn't I allowed to perform my ministry? Why wasn't I allowed to talk about certain things? Why wasn't I allowed? It's almost like I was a foreman and I wasn't allowed on the property. Eventually, if you're the foreman and you're not allowed on the property, you're going to go to the bar and start drinking. I mean, this is the type of stuff that I wasn't allowed to discuss. And it's a problem. Like I said, my reputation's in the toilet. And this is just not the truth. I know the entire truth. I know the truth of everything that occurred regarding my ministry and my life with the church. And I'm telling you right now, you're only hearing around 5 to 30%, if that. The rest, God's not really letting you hear it. And this is ultimately where I stand up for myself unequivocally, and I call Jesus Christ a hypocrite and a coward. He's a coward. He's a coward to protect his church like this when they're so guilty. And I was so innocent in a lot of other ways. The earth deserves to know this so my reputation could be healed and fixed. But Jesus Christ isn't even allowing me to have a radio interview. You really have to ask yourself, if you were me, put yourself in my shoes. If you were me, would you put up with this, God? Would you not stand up for yourself as well? I was born to serve the Lord. I was called from birth to do this job. And ultimately, I couldn't even perform half of my ministry because the church was completely checked out. I mean, this is just not good in general. If anybody on this planet in the world sees this a certain way, you need to see it also in relation to a sinful church who did everything. A sinful church, like I said, as a foreman, if I can't go to the workplace and do my job, eventually I'm going to end up in the bar. And that's what happened. You have to ask yourself, why was the construction site closed? Whose fault was it? What was done about it? And why wasn't there relief, and why wasn't there an opening at some point? Because when you actually understand those questions and answers, you see things differently. You know, I'm the one who showed up to work for 18 years straight. The church was MIA. And like I said, now they get everything on a golden platter, a silver platter, perfect for them. And it's just like, come on, man. You cannot sacrifice me in the truth and communication in order to give your church more space and more grace and more and even more faith, since I'm the one who did the work from the Bible, the interpretations. I mean, at some point, you got to be real. This church is a joke. Even with my fall, I'm 20 to 30 times better than this church. It's the truth.